I'm Greg Miller, and you're listening to Rabbit Hole Media. It kind of sounds gross, but I don't think it is.
Hello and welcome to Press Start, your completely fucking random video game podcast right here on Rabbit Hole Media. I am one of your hosts, Kristian, and this week, as always, and as usual, I'm joined by the Jeremy Clarkson of video games, Jack Netley Thompson.
Hello!
Now, you were just saying as the intro started there, obviously Greg Miller, friend of the show, says at the beginning, I'm Greg Miller, and you're listening to Rabbit Hole Media. It kind of sounds gross, but I don't think it is. And you said to me, I want a Colin one. And I said to you, well, when he comes to the UK next year, because you've said this, they've said last time to come to the UK next year, which...
They said that last year as well.
Well, yeah, but we're going.
Yes.
Same.
As I said, you just responded with, I would be interested in this. So I just went, we wouldn't be friends if you weren't. Like, if you responded with, pass, I'd be like, I'll block your number.
I mean, a lot of the reason that I want to go is just so I can just call them out when they say something dumb as fuck.
I'll sit a few seats away.
Because it'd be the entire show.
Yeah. Just,
False! Idiot!
We're just like, can the other two just stop talking?
That's mean. But what I was going to say was, we'll ask Colin to do it, and the way we'll phrase it, like, we did have Greg, but... you're better.
Yeah. We're more, since they've gone down this weird rabbit hole of, we don't make factual game journalistic content anymore. We just make what's woke at the moment.
Colin, we have an interesting from Greg Miller. We've decided we'd like to upgrade. So,
Yes.
Anyway, we are here today to talk about Marvel's Spider-Man PS2 on PS5. What the fuck's wrong with me? Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on PS5. We're going to chat and review the game, and we're not going to spoil it straight away. So you're safe for now. We're going to talk about it. Spoiler 3. 3?
What's happened to you?
My back nerves have broken my brain.
Fair.
That's what it is.
Understandable.
And then we'll spoil it afterwards. That's the plan, because we finished it and planned it.
Indeed. We realised there will be no one left when we start doing that.
Yeah, we just want to talk about it.
We just haven't had a chat yet. So
at that point, it'll just be us chatting into a mic. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Spider-Man 2, because we've platinumed it, so we will spoil the fuck out of it. And we'll warn you beforehand, so then you can go and do whatever it is you do. Spider-Man 2.
Indeed.
Where would you like to start? Because
New York.
I have a lot of things I want to say. Now, really, mostly my impressions are positive.
Yes.
But I'm particularly angry about the things that aren't positive.
Yes.
It's not even a case of, but this is us, because you're right. In nearly every circumstance, that would be correct. But in this instance, I'm particularly angry about the things that aren't positive.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it's us.
I see.
Like, despite the fact it's overwhelmingly positive, that's the thing that stands
Rich
out.
has jumped in already, so let's just go with it. Rich has said it's a great game so far, but I can't stand the filler walking simulator scene. So, time code is 340. What have they done?
I agree and disagree. I seem to be lighter on this than everyone else, because I feel most of them, a lot of them, are there, and they are there for a reason that flows with the story, and I don't mind it. There are moments like that in every fucking game.
Yeah.
It's just the counterpart isn't moving like Spider-Man. So
Yeah, okay,
so
fine.
Not all of them are excused from this. There is the whole first time you go to the lab bollocks, even though that is flowing into the story, doesn't make any fucking sense. Why he's just wandering around so excited about all this tech that isn't as good as the stuff he has in his fucking pocket. But so I don't like that. But there's one later on, is all I will say in the non-spoiler bit. I'm not pointing, I'm doing an action. But
Got it.
yeah,
Got it.
That one I don't mind because like there's a reason you are Spider-Manning in that moment, and there's a few of them I don't mind. Rich has brought it up, and it's kind of relevant. The bike shit. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we biking? Just skip. Just teleport. Just cutscene it.
Here's where I want to get into it, right? Because I understand what you're saying. There's certain elements of this is being used as a tool to provide exposition or to slow the pacing down, and that's normal in games. And when done well, is fine.
Oh yeah. There is definitely some inexcusable stuff among here, which we will get to.
Yeah,
100%.
but I think the problem is at least in the first part of the game, a lot of the story main campaign missions are centered around these more, not Spider-Maning stuff. And the issue isn't so much you're not Spider-Man, it's just that's a good way of categorizing what I'm talking about. And a lot of the side activities are also that, or extensions of what you've done in the main game.
Well, the main missions at the beginning are setting up the side activities.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're spending a lot of time not doing the main bit because it wants to introduce the side activity in a more natural way, which I get. And again, I don't necessarily mind. My main issue, and I said it to you guys the other day, is the fact that it's really front heavy.
Yeah, exactly. It's really front heavy because it does go away a bit towards the end. Oh, in terms of the campaign, it goes away towards the end of the campaign. But I don't think it's even a problem that they're using it this kind of thing. Because, let's use some examples of comparisons. And Naughty Dog's going to be the main example because they're very good at it. But obviously, Last of Us Uncharted, very good at using these moments to slow you down and present a different part of story to you that isn't going to be centered around the core gameplay, because it can't be because of what the story is. And it's doing it in a more interesting way than just a cutscene. Because in reality, the alternative is a really long cutscene. And then that's a different problem and arguably a worse one. My issue isn't that there is a story mission early on, and really, really minor early story mission spoilers here. Really minor, so barely a spoiler. And as you're saying, there's a story mission earlier on where you go to a lab and you're walking around a lab. But part of that in itself is fine. In terms of what they're doing, it's setting up a story part, and it's putting a focus on Peter, not Spider-Man, and that's all well and good. But along with that, you also have this extended bit at the beginning where you're riding this bike, and then it makes you ride a bike for no reason as part of mini games. And actually, the mini games is where I take my biggest umbrage. There's so many mini games, whether that's puzzle solving ones, flying a fucking drone chasing bees, riding the bike around, the fucking mirror things you have to do at one point. We have to shoot some lasers around with some mirrors in one of the side missions. There's so many different types of mini games. There's the fucking DJ one where it turns into a fucking Guitar Hero for a while. There are so many types of mini games, and my issue is this is what we all complained about with the first one, and you only had two types. The resolution isn't give us more types of mini games, it's fuck them off. That's not why I'm playing this. And in contrast to it, your core game is so good. Because it's not even like the core Spider-Man game is pretty solid. No, the core game is outstanding. So you just focus on that. I would have rather had all those mini game side missions gone and given me different types of bases and outposts.
Yep.
And a better variety of bases and outposts and shit like that. Or the first game had the combat challenges and the stealth challenges. Give me those again. More of those. Because they were fucking wonderful. That would have been better
I agree.
use of the time than this consistent amount of mini games and amount of times where it pulls you away from being Spider-Man or takes you out of that moment. There's a whole bunch of MJ missions again. And Brian Intihar has spoken about this. And we spoke about this briefly in text the other day. Because he said, my approach was, we knew that people didn't like them, so we had to think, do we just take them out or do we make them better? And we've decided we'll make them better. But and it's okay, they are better. Those sections are better in this one than they are in the first one. But they're still not good. And they're definitely not as good as the main game.
No.
Therefore, they add nothing. Therefore, they don't need to be there. And I don't think any of them need to. I don't think any of the MJ missions need to be there.
No, they don't. They don't. As you say, they're better. I didn't mind them as much, but it's definitely. I think their main problem as well for me is less of a gameplay thing, but more of a. Why is she having an easier time taking these guys out than Spider-Man?
Yeah. I completely agree.
Like, I just...
Because as Spider-Man, I had to punch this man 17 times, and you just went...
MJ is a housewife. Who she does reporting sometimes, but not really, because she's actually a stage actress. She's a theatre actress, but becomes more of a housewife, like in future comics, where they start actually having a family and what have you. And not to say that you can't make her more prominent, but why are we making her like as important as Spider-Man in the story? It's like, no. And a lot of stories have this issue for me, and it's like, everyone that the main character knows has to be involved. It's like, no, they don't. They don't need to be involved. Not everyone Peter interacts with needs to be involved in some superhero escapades. Not everyone needs to either become a villain or become a hero. You just know some people, and that's fine. Like, and yes, this is your girlfriend, becomes your wife if they want to go down this road. But I just don't get this incessant need to make MJ so vital.
I agree.
Because, like, yeah, just don't get it. Just don't get it. It's really stupid. And, yeah, the missions, they are better. They're less, oh my God, this fucking sucks. But it's also, like, it slaughters everything. I think it would be less egregious if it wasn't for everything else. All the other minigames.
Well, that's
there
it,
as
because
well.
then there's so many.
Yeah.
So then the ones that you can kind of justify as, I can see why that was a good use to serve the story.
Get buried in there's so much.
Yeah.
And I agree and disagree with Richard's point. At no point in my love affair with Spider-Man through all mediums did I ever think, but would he be any good at pairing flowers, sun and water? And I agree with that on a literal sense. 50% of his persona is the fact that he's a scientist. So there is elements of that in all stories, but do it better.
Yeah, they do it better than that.
Do it better. Because that... I hated that. I hated that thing. To be fair, it was the only one that made me use my head, so I didn't mind it as much. But again, it's because it's surrounded by... Why am I a drone shooting bees? Shooting big bees?
Yeah, bigger bees
Bigger
or
bees
rats.
to protect the bees.
Yeah.
And what's some of the other ones? Just to be fair,
Well, there's that proton one where you have to like take out the certain parts of the thing on like the
there's
DNA
that.
strands.
With that, have that or the flower thing.
Yeah, then there's the flower thing, and then there was the DJ one, there was some mirror one.
A lot of them are one and done.
Ones.
That doesn't excuse them.
Yeah, even more of a reason why they're here.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Stop introducing new things to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get like good game design will be that it's going to be because that's teaching you a mechanic that's going to be important later.
No, but it's not.
But it's not. Like a good example for me has always been Stick of Truth. And I know this is a fucking claim. South Park, The Stick of Truth.
It's a great game.
Does a brilliant job of that throughout the game. It makes you do a couple of weird mini games. So what the fuck am I doing?
Doesn't it open with you needing a shit?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But there's one in particular that it keeps making you do, a particular type of mini game that it's done. It makes you do a couple of times and it feels irritating. And a lot of it's in side missions or side activities. And there's like one story mission where it does it, whatever. But then by the end of the game, that's the main thing you have to do to beat the final boss. And it's done in a way where it contextually makes sense that that's what you have to do to beat the final boss as well. But it's used opportunities in the game to teach you that mechanic earlier on. So it's like if it was doing this to teach you a mechanic for later, for something important later, because they've realized, we have this big boss fight idea and a really cool way to defeat the boss will be doing by this, this, and this. Well, we have to teach the player that. Well, we'll sprinkle it throughout the game early on. That's good game design. But this isn't the case. This is clearly... We need to add a couple more hours in. Put another minigame.
For sure, yeah.
It's clearly what it is.
No, absolutely. I agree.
Especially with that one mission that you text me about that then I played when you were here.
Oh my God.
Which I won't say what it is.
We're not going to say what it is, but I can say it's the worst thing I've done in a video game in about 15 years.
I totally agree, and no reason for it. No need for it
Complete waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's another thing as well where a lot of these,
I have get cancelled on the internet amount of opinion about.
I'm with you on that. But like, I also think that good side missions.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Apropos of nothing, I need cheesecake. I fucking agree.
Yeah, I love a good cheesecake.
I love cheesecake.
Oh, I want cheesecake a lot now. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah, same. Should we get cheesecake? Where can you order a cheesecake?
You can order a cheesecake. We'll probably have to go and get a cheesecake.
Yeah.
I mean, we could literally just go to Co-op and get a cheesecake, and it would cost like £1. If you're going to order a cheesecake, it's going to be an expensive cheesecake for a slice this big, and it's going to have to pay for delivery on top of it, and then wait an hour.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually order a cheesecake. Do you remember when we looked at creams?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah,
And it was £18 for a waffle.
The thing is, if it wasn't £18, we would have ended up ordering the creams. So I'm kind of glad it was £18 because it made us go no. It made us stop and think for a second. But yeah, this kind of side content is good as well when it adds to the game, but it doesn't ever add to the game. I think all it does is just take away and stop you from being able to be Spider-Man, and that is a huge problem, and I can't fathom A, why it's not being spoken about more, and B, why they thought it was a good idea. Because equally, I think if you had taken all of that out, don't even replace it. I think it had all been taken out. 10 out of 10. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with the rest of the game at all, personally. I really, really don't think there's anything wrong with the rest of the game at all.
Yeah, it's not quite... It's the most unpolished Sony game we've ever had, I think, but...
That's but
but that still has to play into the... I get your point.
It is like, I never had anything game-breaking or...
Oh, I did.
Oh, fair enough. I didn't. I never had anything like that. Or like that was so jarring that it like pulled me. I never had anything like that. The worst I had there was a couple of times where a few NPCs got like stuck in vehicles if I was fighting in the street and like kicked them into the car and they'd be like kind of stuck in the car for a bit. That was the worst
happened.
I had.
I also don't mind that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Whatever. But no, my game hard crashed multiple times.
I did have a couple of hard crashes. Yeah.
Like
I had one where the PlayStation just went and just turned off.
Yeah,
I was like, oh.
I had it twice where the cutscene would give me the first shot and then like really robotic audio, but the shot wouldn't change.
Oh.
So I had to quit the mission and go back into the mission. I had stuff that I had prompts not load.
Oh, okay.
So I had a lot of... And yeah, I had the white square.
There's white square, yeah. That's been patched, apparently.
Well, there hasn't been a patch.
I'm sure it has.
I haven't had one.
Well,
normally
downloaded in the background.
Yeah, I know, but normally it says what you've missed.
Let's have a look.
Every time I turn on the
I've
PlayStation.
seen that there was a...
I know there's a patch coming because that's where all these new god shite...
No, there has been a patch because they also fixed the flag thing.
What flag thing?
The Miles Morales' house didn't have the Puerto Rican flag. It had the Cuban flag up.
They even made a suit with the flag on it.
Yeah, it was clearly just that someone had uploaded the wrong art asset, is all it is.
I see.
But yeah, they patched that. They did a patch to put that, and then in the patch, it's also fixed the white cube bug.
I see.
Because basically that got brought to their attention, and obviously that is like a... Sony probably went, fix this now. And I imagine Insomniac went, oh, yes, we will, because that's a problem. And they just used the opportunity to switch it, slip in a few other things, I'd imagine. So.
That's fair. What they need to patch is lens reflections.
That might be just an actual like design choice, though, to make it less shiny.
Yeah, I know, but it looks worse.
Subjective. Anyway, talking
Incorrect.
about the game itself. Yeah,
photo mode is a part of the fucking game.
At least it has a photo mode, I guess, because the amount of games that missed out at launch. We had photo mode 2
God of
months
War
later.
Ragnarok.
Why? Yeah, but on, like some performance issues aside, which I didn't have. I think the rest of the game is generally great. I think the combat is fucking great. It's good fun. It's fluid. You can do a lot with it if you're smart. There's some great environmental stuff as well. There is things where it's like I'll dodge like over someone, And as I dodge over someone, like there's some rubble that's come through, and then there's like a second animation that sinks in where then he also like dodges over the rubble as well. Like there's loads of little details. Like if you're fighting in and around traffic and you like attack someone, like there's on the other side of the car, you'll like slide over the car bonnet before he then attacks him and stuff like that. Like there's loads of really good little animations like that. The traversal system is fucking excellent. The first game was, but this is even better. The wingsuits are great. The way the map is designed around it is great. The amount of just like sheer visual fidelity and detail in every fucking frame is insane. The amount of times where it's just been like, I've jumped off a fucking tallest skyscraper, wingsuit out, and it's like, there was clearly a point in like the production meetings, and they were working with like the art teams and the engineers, and they were like, so Brian and leadership, how much draw distance do you want? And they just said yes. Because it just goes. Like, there's no... I had no pop-in or anything. Like, just fucking the amount of detail and shit in any one frame. The city's fucking busy. Like, massive population, just really alive. There's so much going on. Like, I think it's stunning.
I do have... It's consistent, but again, not anything I would actually use as a critique. I do have pop-in. But it's usually when I go down, things start popping up on ground level, bins and side things like that. Really in the distance, it's like cars, but it's only ever things like that. Smaller bushes if you go through Central Park and things like that, but nothing major at all.
I mean, that might not even be the assets not loading. That might just be not like hitting the focus or something on the in-game camera. I don't know enough about how games work to know that.
It's also like how fucking fast you're moving.
Yeah.
A machine can only do so much, and the fact that it loads anything at this speed is
ludicrous. The fucking fast travel time.
The fast travel is like a joke.
Yeah.
Like
it's beyond fast travel, isn't it?
Crime has been committed in order to make that work. Bribe, like money's changed hands. Like it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. The only time I ever fast traveled is now that I've finished the game and I just want photos. So I'm just like,
I was doing it a little bit with some of the trophy cleanup, but not much. It was more like I was looking what I needed to do, and it was, the next base I need to do is at the other side of New York. No, I'm not swinging all over there.
Oh no, I would just swing.
I mostly was.
I would just swing because that's literally the best part of the game.
Yeah, no, it's fucking great. The entire traversal system's great, and being able to throw all the different things together, different types of the swinging and into the wingsuit, and then back out into swing.
I would admit, I tend to avoid the wind tunnels.
No, I like
for more than like I don't go like for long distances because it just removes all fun.
Oh no,
I will use them and then just pop out to then start swinging.
That's fair. No, I quite enjoyed going.
But I would never go from like all the way, like other than the bridge. But yeah, I would never go like all the way through a city because I'm just like, cool, I've done nothing, like literally nothing. X-bots will complain that the swinging is just hold R2. I was like, well, you can hold just R2. Doesn't mean the swinging is just hold R2.
There's loads you can do with the swinging, and
of course there is.
Putting different things together.
Tricks, and depending when you jump, it gives you a different thing. You've obviously got the web zip, you've got the bouncing, you've got the bouncing off of the ground, as well as like, you got the wingsuit, you got the tricks you can do in and out. You can
also
of the
combine
wingsuit.
Things like, you know, running off a rooftop to swing, and then like on a side of the building, spring off the side of the building, then round the corner. Like there's loads of stuff you can do with it if you're
if you're good enough.
Yeah, I've said this before. A lot of it is how good you are at a game.
The lower you turn the assistance, the better stuff you can do.
As
well. Yeah, but that just means you're more likely to hit the ground
because it's harder because you turn the assistance. Makes sense.
Yes. But no, the swinging and the traversal in general, it's the best traversal system that's ever seen the eyes of a video game.
I totally agree.
Yeah, that is a fact. If you disagree, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's just really fun and fluid.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely is.
The map is. I think it helps as well that the map is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So it's also enjoyable to travel around it and just and vast and varied. There's so much going on in it. There's so much variation, especially with the new like suburbs they put in, which are quite different to the main built-up area of Manhattan. So you get some really nice variety as you're swinging around and traversing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. Isn't it? It is absolutely insane.
The fact that isn't just a photo
Yeah.
is mental.
And,
Obviously, I can't really show.
like bouncing off of that, I have said, I said that I'd be interested in a PS5 Pro because I'm sick of having to pick between fidelity and performance modes because I'm a snob for frame rate, but I'm also a snob for good lighting and ray tracing and stuff like that, right? And in theory, a PS5 Pro will mean that maybe I'll have...
I think this proves you could get both
Yeah.
out of a PS5 Pro.
But, because of my TV, that can do 120 hertz in VRR, I was able to run this game on the fidelity mode, and then with VRR turned on 120 hertz, it means that it's anywhere between 40 and 120 frames per second. So most of the time, I was getting smooth as fuck, and 40 is also good enough. It's 40 is a step enough above 30, where it's like I'm fine with this.
It is I can definitely you can get above 30.
Bye, Hannah.
You can get above 30. And a marketable improvement. There is a certain point where if you think it makes a difference, you're a liar.
I agree. I mean, the thing is, I switch between.
Oh my god! I've just dropped to 130 frames per second. Go fuck yourself.
I switch between the modes a lot, and it was for the most part, playing on fidelity with VRR and 120 hertz turned on is just as smooth to me as the frame rate mode. But I can also see a noticeable difference in the fidelity of everything else. It wasn't so much the resolution I was noticing. There was a bit of resolution, but I was noticing there was more going on with shadows and reflections. There was a lot anyway, but even more of it, and that made a big difference. So I quite quickly settled on a fidelity mode, which is unlike me, with that thing. And it was just, fuck man, this game, for so much of it, looks so good. The suit textures.
Yep.
The character models for the Spider-Men, their suits are absolutely ridiculous.
That's how I've gotten away with some of these fucking photos.
They are ridiculous.
Mental.
The amount of polys on them must be
absurd.
astronomical. They are just ludicrous. The quality of the textures are insane. And how I at least with the suits I picked, maybe it's not the case of every suit, but the amount of games I play where characters' own costumes are clipping into themselves. Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is the last game I played, was full of it. He'd sit down and his own cape would just come through his legs. Full of it. They hadn't modelled the suits around the skeletal structures of where the people were moving well. This was just fucking everything looks seamless and consequently feels solid.
The skin tight nature of it obviously helps, but
for sure. But just no weird muscle clipping into their sides or anything like that. It just everything felt so tactile.
Mm-hmm.
Never had anything that just made it. Oh, not really.
No. Nothing. There was the Moon Knight one can go a bit. It doesn't clip through, but it can go a bit funny.
Yeah,
but
I never used that one, but I can imagine that's more likely to have issues.
Yeah, this is just not designed for suits like that. That's all it is. And even then, it's not clipping. It's just the physics of it don't really know what to do when you do some of the weirder maneuvers. That's all it is. And there's another one. There's one for Miles that has a little cape as well, and that's a similar thing. Mm-hmm. No clipping, just does what it does. But yeah, the texture, especially on Advanced 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rich says he got impregnated by the arachnite cape, which is fair. Fair enough. Fair play.
He got impregnated?
I had big glitches with the arachnite cape being in me.
Oh, I see. Got it. Got it. I clearly didn't read the full thing.
Especially, on Advanced 2.0, because clearly that's the main suit.
Yeah.
The fucking textures of that are obscene. Are obscene. Insane, obscene. You can clearly see what fucking materials they wanted the suit to be made out of. It's ridiculous. It's also a cool as fuck suit.
Yeah, and some of the colours and stuff as well, just fucking pops. Just really, really fucking great looking game. And for me, ran so well.
Yeah, I didn't even look at any other mode. I literally just booted it up. It was fidelity. I cracked on to smoothing or whatever, and it was like, fine, I'm probably getting 40 FPS, but I don't care. I play games at 30. I did have some weird fucking thing with face models, though.
Yeah, you messaged me about it. I never had anything like what you described. Or that sounded like you described.
Miles' uncle looked shit every time. It was Miles' uncle in particular that looked like really bad, and I don't know why, because it didn't in Miles Morales.
I don't recall having this problem.
Like, it's just his goatee had like, it's clearly missing all of the detail of the goatee, so it just looked weird and kind of just like scrabbled on. There's something around his eyes were just dead. Early on, I had the same issue with MJ. It seemed to fix itself. And in the first time you see Miles with his uncle, Miles looked fucking jank as well. But that never happened again. Pete has a thick neck.
He's very muscly.
He is a muscly boy. But other than that, yeah, the environments are remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of the best looking open world games ever made.
Absolutely.
I think the only contender is Forbidden West.
I agree with that.
And then that's a completely different style.
Yeah.
So, whatever it may be. Another note I have is those magical legs can suck a dick.
You don't so keen on those, were you?
No, I hate them. I don't like them in anything Spider-Man other than Superior Spider-Man. I don't like them on the Iron Spider either. In the comics, there's only meant to be 3 anyway, not 4. But anyway, I don't like them. And also, particularly, I don't like them at the beginning of this game because there's nowhere for them to appear from.
Yeah, but my only issue with them is that they come from nowhere.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. Like, I didn't mind them as moves. Like, you can unlock the Superior suit.
I have to admit, as soon as I could take them off, I had them off. Unless, because there was a while I had the Superior suit on, and then I put them back on.
Because not only has it got somewhere for them to come from, and it makes sense, but also it changes the design of the legs to fit the suit. So yeah, it looks cool in that sense. But yeah, otherwise it's just it's my biggest issue with fucking the MCU as well that we were just talking about in No Way Home. It's just this fucking nanotech nonsense appear out of nowhere bullshit. I hate it. So I hated the legs. And once it got to a point where you could use other abilities, I was like, I'm using these other abilities. Because at least that makes sense that they're appearing out of nowhere. Or to a degree.
Spoilers, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I'm just looking through notes. Spoiler. Stupid drone shite. We won't read that one.
No, don't read that one. I agree, though.
Eat shit with motion controls. I was very aggressive about
None of the motion controls were forced on you.
No,
though.
I know, but they were clearly what they wanted you to do.
Yeah.
It was what it was showing you to do, and it's tiny font underneath to say, or you could just press a button.
Yeah.
No, fuck off. This
I mean,
isn't PS3.
but they were all on the mini games though, which I think
Yeah,
just shouldn't have been there in the first place.
No,
so.
I agree. It's just
Like, why am I shooting hoops?
one thing I do like about the side stuff is it all builds to stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
No,
Wait,
and I'm
what?
not. All of it builds into.
elaborate.
So all of them eventually, like, yeah, you're doing a load of minigame bollocks, but all of them lead into something. They lead
I see what you
into
mean.
some form of story moment, some side
Got
story
you.
that is clearly. And one thing that I really like about this is it clearly goes, I don't give a fuck if you didn't play the DLC or the Miles Morales. That's your fault.
Yeah.
And it's all important. Side shit in the first game that led to a story moment is all important, and it all comes to a head. Unless it was completely resolved in the first game, a couple of them were. Screwball, for example. So that doesn't show up again. Praise be Jesus, that didn't show up again. But I like all the stories that some of them get resolved in this game. Some of them are like, oh,
Jesus,
fuck.
Yeah.
Like, they lead to something. And I think this game has set up so much cool fucking shit as a Spider-Man fan, either from the main story obviously sets up some pretty pretty deep stuff. One of the side quests leads to a pretty fucking big, for the universe that is the Insomniac universe thing. Won't say what it is.
We'll do that in a minute.
We'll do it in a bit. And I will say why I have a very tiny issue with something. It's not directly to do with that. It's to do with something else that's even more stupid.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to say that now anyway.
Is it spoilery?
No, but given how I've now set up me getting to that, it could then bounce back and spoil something else.
Save it
So
for
I'll
when
save
we're
it.
going to go spoilers in a minute.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
half hour in, so.
Yeah, I'll save it. 'Cause I was just going to talk about a suit.
Okay, fair.
But all of the stuff, I really like it all. And I'm actually very excited to dive into what they are specifically. But another thing I do have actually problem with, I found most of the bosses really boring.
I was going to bring this up because you messaged me about this, and I again just don't agree. I found every boss fight really good fun, personally.
They were all the same.
They were, but I preferred the boss fights being just have to work out how to beat the guy with more health. I preferred that over what weird fucking shenanigan puzzle do I have to do in this one. And that is just a preference of what I like from a boss fight.
It's not even the puzzle thing because...
Well, that's what a lot of the first one was. A lot of the first one was like you have to do something specific to end the fight. So like there was one where you're fighting Rhino and you have to like do specific things to take down his shield enough to be able to attack him. And the one with Electro, again, we have to do certain things to then actually be able to do the damage to him. Like it's done as you have to work out what task you have to do, or it might tell you have to do a particular task, and then that allows you to do some damage. And for me, I just don't like that because that becomes a repetitive thing, and also I feel like not using any skill, just going through the motions. And this is entirely a personal thing of what I prefer out of a fight design. I much prefer it being this guy has more health and takes fuck all damage and does load of damage, and my ability to beat him is going to be just playing it well and avoiding attacks and making an opportunity to attack. That's just what I prefer.
That's fine. I just think every single boss fight just goes, we're ignoring the fact that you're Spider-Man.
It kind of does do that.
For me,
I will give you that.
Put you in an enclosed arena
where you can't really traverse around properly.
You can't be Spider-Man. You're just going to punch things. Where realistically, if Spider-Man was in a fight where all he had to do was punch things...
Dead, yeah.
Not even dead, just sorted.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
And it was because...
There were some where I did find myself that I was able to swing around and pick stuff up and throw things and stuff and fight more that way.
You can do that, but it's more like...
A lot of them you are just kind of
They're all the same.
Yeah.
I
agree with that. That's fine.
There are the couple that stand out, which then points the problem even more.
Yeah.
Points the problem. Because it opens with Sandman.
Yeah. Which
is what a Spider-Man boss fight should be in every way. It's big in scale. The villain is being the villain. It's obviously not necessarily that much where the map's changing and all that stuff. That's expensive as shit. You can't do that for every boss fight because then also you need to write in weird nonsense ways as to why the city is fine again afterwards. Whereas you can just have lumps of sand and broken buildings because it's the beginning. It was designed like that from minute one. But I feel like...
Doesn't that clear itself up as the game goes on as well?
Some of it does, yeah. There are some stuff that's still just sand at the end, but that's fair. The game isn't set over a massive amount of time.
No, yeah.
The Sandman fight was great.
The entire opening sequence is fucking excellent. It is just instant hype.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking good.
That song that they use as they're about to jump off the building, I have no idea what it is.
It was so good.
But it's so good.
So well.
Oh, I'm so fired. And yes.
Yeah.
Justifiably so, unfortunately.
Oh, he knows it.
Yeah. I feel like that was possibly the worst job he could have taken.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're Spider-Man, don't go for a job that you're not going to have to just leave at any given notice.
Yeah. That was a real dumb one. That was probably the dumbest thing Spider-Man's done.
Yeah. But this Spider-Man, anyway. Tom Holland just
Fuck the multiverse. This guy is something of a scientist himself. He needs my help. But that's but yeah, just the. Oh, you're standing up to me because you have muscles.
I stopped time coding ages ago.
No, I misread that, and I thought, when did we talk about that? But we haven't yet. But like, whereas in the first game, we got obviously the Kingpin fight to open. That was the Sandman equivalent. I think that boss fight was really good because it was in
the Kingpin fight in the first game was really good.
The Kingpin fight, but then we also had I disagree. I think the Vulture Electro fight and the Scorpion Rhino fight are both really good. Like, if you have really unique villains, you're gonna need a really unique way to take them down.
To clarify, I don't think they're bad in any sense. It's just, as a entirely a personal thing, I prefer a boss fight if it's I just need to fight the guy as opposed to what arbitrary task do I need to do.
Yeah, I don't
I think
necessarily
you can
disagree. I just think that's very like the antithesis of Spider-Man.
I don't know, because I think that then comes down to I would rather that they, instead of just making me do an arbitrary preset task, that they were to interject it with set pieces or interject it with a cutscene, or that they just give you a more variety of options in terms of like the arena you're in. So that
you can
like,
do
that
that
would be for me the way to do it.
Yeah, it's difficult because you've got to video game it. And
Yeah.
I've got problems with that.
But that's this is just, it's literally just two different types of game of fight design, isn't it? It's
sure.
Do we do it as a task based, or is it literally just a combat?
For sure, but yeah, that's what. So what I mean is more because it's a video game, you kind of have to move away to it to some degree. But because I every form of Spider-Man I love, so I read a lot of the comics, watch a lot of the shows, all that kind of stuff, and all of his interaction with these characters aren't fights; they're problem solving.
Yeah.
So that's what Spider-Man is. He solves problems, and these
That's fair
problems
enough.
just happen to be these villains. Their
so
approach to things.
For
so
me,
the him just going up and punching everyone repeatedly just doesn't land as a Spider-Man.
no, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
but
that's my only thing.
then for me, I think then the better solution to it is to interject more with set pieces, because the set pieces, some of the set pieces in this game, there was one in particular where I finished playing it and I generally said out loud, that might be the coolest thing I've ever fucking done in a video game. And you know what? I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was like, no, I do know what it was. I was like, that entire set piece was so fucking cool. There was some really good set pieces, and they then felt like bigger moments than the boss fights.
Yeah, but I feel like the reason I think it stands out so much to me is because they do have what I want in this game.
Right.
They just don't do it all the time. And I feel the time where it was most important, they flopped it.
Right. No, fair enough.
Like, they do have these boss fights that are more what I want. Sandman being one of them, I've said that, but there are two others. One time where they do exactly what I don't like, but they make it okay. Again, I can't say how. I'll say it in the spoilers. But there are two other boss fights that I'm just like, that is how you do a Spider-Man boss fight. And they do incorporate their punchy-wunchy business, but they also include the set PC problem-solving bit as well. But honestly, this isn't so much a spoiler. Obviously, it's going to happen, so I'm not going to say anything in particular. But my least favorite boss fight was Kraven.
That's fair, because it's literally just a fight in a field.
Yeah, that is the big boss. Let's look at my notes, see if I've got anything I can say before.
That hurt every part of my face.
Before Rich leaves us. No,
I have realised we should have done this.
Oh, I see. Put 19 inches of venom on
just
the
had
table.
some set dressing.
Yeah, well, we have now. We can have it for the spoiler part. I don't have anything else I can say without spoiling it.
Right, because I'm pretty much the same. So we are now going to spoil the fuck out of Spider-Man 2. So if you're still watching and you haven't finished the game and if you don't want it spoiled, leave. If you want to stay and watch us because we're excellent and entertaining, fair enough. But be warned, the game is going to be spoiled for you. Right.
I was about to say we should give Rich time for the delay, but then by the time we had started speaking, that would also be delayed.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Bye, Rich. Remember, bookmark the YouTube video and come back so you can watch it when you're done. I'm saying that to literally a team member. Anyway, I think that's plenty of time.
Agreed. How do you want to? Where do you go? Where do you want to go? Because I think you've got more to say in this regard. Because you've got some things you want to talk about specifically, which are spoilery. So.
I do.
So you lead it. I'll bounce off you.
So the boss fight. Well, I may as well carry
Stick
on
with the boss fights.
from where I was going. The boss fights that are the best in this game. He just fingered Venom. The boss fights that are the best in this game, other than Sandman, are Lizard.
The lizard one's really cool. Now you see, the lizard one to me is that right combination.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So I did say there was one that was more set piecey problem solving, and also incorporated the punchy wunchy.
But it's also, it doesn't force you to do the arbitrary task. It is just there, and it doesn't even tell you it. It's just like you can do it, and if you work it out to do it. So it to me that feels more satisfying because it's like, oh, I can pull that thing, and that fucks him for a bit. But I don't have to do that. You can still get through that fight without doing it. But it's just cool working out how to use the environment as opposed to the first game, which is they are very much like, no, this is you have to do this. If you don't do this, you can't progress the fight. So it's forced on you. It doesn't feel like I've made that decision and worked it out for myself.
That's fair.
So like that to me, that's a better fight design, and I do think I agree for the reasons you're saying is one of the better boss fights in the game.
That's fair
For that reason.
I guess, obviously, entirely subjective.
It is entirely subjective. Yeah.
For me, the reason it didn't bother me in the first game was because the results still looked cool.
Yeah, that's fair.
And felt cool.
Oh, yeah, and they're still, like, don't get me wrong, that's not me.
You're not saying you don't like them.
Yeah, that's not me critiquing the first game. It's just, I prefer that kind of fight style where...
That's absolutely fair enough.
Yeah, I'd rather have to work out
That's
myself.
absolutely
really.
fair enough. The other one was Mysterio.
Yes.
The Mysterio boss fight, completely like you don't have to do it. It's a side thing with Miles. I don't know why Miles. Very odd, but fine. Neither here nor there. But I really liked that whole thing. The Mysteriums themselves were a bit hit or miss depending on the challenge. Some of them I think were obnoxiously difficult.
Yeah.
And some of them were obnoxiously easy. So
yes, there was balance. A weird...
yeah. Find your balance. The ones where it's like, don't get hit, I'm like, get fucked.
Yeah.
What do you mean, don't get hit?
Luckily, it wasn't. The trophy was only do them. The trophy wasn't hit gold on them because if that, it would have been like fuck you.
To be fair, there was only like 3 where I didn't get gold.
Same
Time, but I agree. It would. 2 of them would don't get hit, and I feel like that never would have happened because I suck at the game. I put it on amazing. Is that the standard one?
I don't know.
Whatever. I put it on normal. And then once I was in the game, I realized you could kind of customize the difficulty. So I changed the enemy damage output down because I was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
You take damage on it.
A normal goon can just pistol whip you and you're
Yeah.
done. Like, stupid. I think that's fucking stupid. Especially considering they're, like, Trevor is just... Spider-Man's dead. I was on full health. And yet, I punched you 76 times. Like, I know Spider-Man pulls his punches, but you're pulling them too much. Don't go into this like a toddler. At least a human, like as in toddlers aren't humans, fucking idiots.
I know
At
what
least
you
a
mean.
grown-up. So, and then that, I was like, okay, less egregious. Then I got to Craven, and then I was like, no, I'm lowering your health as well, you fuck. Like, this is obnoxious. Again, like, you're just a dude. But yeah, I think the Mysterio boss fight was really fucking cool. Because it wasn't just you were punching Mysterio. It was all of this stuff. You were in a snow globe, which was cool as hell.
Yeah, the visual design of that being in the miniature snow globe thing was really cool.
Yeah, and like throwing like toy cars at people, and it was just really cool. I really liked that boss fight to the point where it was the one I noted down. Like the Mysterio boss fight was cool as fuck. I don't know what I mean by this now. I just put Venom fight cool. I don't know.
Venom fight was cool.
But did I mean that, or did I mean that he fights cool?
Both applies.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
So the
But yeah.
the set piece that I vocally went, that was fucking really cool, was when you're escaping the zoo.
The zoo?
The old abandoned zoo where Craven's got some shit. You
Oh.
start the mission as MJ.
The one where you die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all of that sequence was fucking excellent. It was just so much fucking going on in it. It was just crazy. Really enjoyed all of that. The fucking symbiote powers.
Oh, cool as hell.
So fucking cool. And mate, I think I love Venom as a character, as a concept.
He is, for me, as a superhero nerd, Venom is the greatest antagonist in storytelling.
So there was some fucking stuff in this. It was in the Craven fight, and like during the Craven fight, Venom starts talking to you and just saying shit. Like kill him, but like in the Venom thing, and that.
Well, yeah, he's talking to Harry, but yeah, which is talking to us.
Yeah. But wait, no, he's talking to Harry. No, when you're fighting Craven as Peter and he's got the Venom suit.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry,
He's
I
got the
thought you meant
symbiote
when
suit.
you were fighting Craven.
No. When you're fighting Craven as Peter and you've got the
he's talking to
symbiote
Peter.
suit. And it's that he's starting to bleed through more basically because that's obviously you're seeing him evolve as.
Yeah, and even when Peter starts talking, it starts flowing into just naturally flowing into.
But there's some points
Venom's
where
voice.
it's just like VO, really, because it's just Peter hearing it, and the sound design on it, on the fucking sound system was excellent because it was mixed in the center. So people that don't understand what I mean by that, 5.1 surround sound, your positioning is either front, back, left, right, or in the center of the room. So everything else is going on in all these different areas. And
it's
normally,
just right here.
Yeah, normally a vocal or dialogue is in the front.
Yeah.
So it's coming out of your TV, it's at the front. But this was just there. So it was just around
In your head, yeah.
And it was so like, you're in this fight and then suddenly Venom just like kill him. And it was just, I remember like, oh my God. Like, because it was big in the mix. It was so fucking cool. I did loads of really cool stuff. And using those symbiote powers as Spider-Man was just fucking so fun. I remember you were over when I think it was the first time I got the symbiote rampage thing, and it's just doing all this incredible stuff. And
The symbiote rampage.
And you and me just go, that was sick. That was fucking sick. That was fucking awesome. That was sick. Like just over and over, and it's fucking cool.
It is cool. Even just not using the powers, just using the rampage mode, and you're like decimating people, and you're like fucking slamming them into the
best
ground.
fucking power is one of the ones you can map onto L1 and X, and he basically does the Groot. Oh no! It's the Groot where all the arms and just picks them up and smacks them down. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, one of the actual Venom, not the anti-Venom powers. Yeah.
Well, you can switch it back again.
Yeah, you can move them
it's
around.
Still in white, so it's the anti-Venom thing.
Yeah.
But what about? Obviously, we are full spoilers here, so I'm warning you. When you're suddenly him.
I lost my mind.
Fucking great, right?
I lost my mind. I literally said,
That's the kind of thing where it's acceptable to make you play as someone else because I'm now playing as someone that's just as fun to play as Spider-Man, but for a different reason.
The issue isn't playing as someone else. It's the playing as someone else was boring.
Yeah.
It is the difference. And I feel like it wouldn't have felt boring in this game with MJ.
Here's a good example. God of War Ragnarok. The first time you
play as
switched, and the
Atreus.
first time we switched to Atreus, we all went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And then you start the gameplay, and what?
Yeah, his
How is
combat
this
is sick.
better?
Yeah.
This
His
is
combat's
better.
sick. Yeah.
And it's also spoilers for God of War Ragnarok.
It's over a year old.
So the point when it was like now be Venom was so fucking good.
I lost my mind.
And you just in so much control.
And then that's why, like, thankfully I didn't infer this from the things online that were going around.
Yeah.
Like Insomniac talking about making a Venom game and like answering questions about a Venom game and stuff. I didn't infer that you would play as Venom. But now it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
As to why that was a question
Yeah.
for some reason. I just assumed it was because Venom is a character who very much sways on either side of right and wrong. I feel only as a fan who knows where they've got all these facets of Venom from Like, the Venom they've crafted is a very much an Insomniac universe Venom that they've picked, they've plucked all these different Venom attributes from all these different versions of Venom and put them all together. Which, fine. Create your own version of Venom. Excellent. No problem with that at all. The only issue I have with it is it then stops Venom from being able to go into the path I would like him to be able to go. And, yes. And all that kind of stuff. Particularly his symbiote army and the hive mind thing, which is a thing. It is in the comics. You've got the Platinum, so you know the suit that pops up for Miles, King in Black. Yeah, King in Black is the god of the symbiotes starts showing up.
Right. Okay.
He's been trapped in literal darkness for thousands, blah, 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 whatever. He gets out. He then starts coming. That's when the hive mind kicks in, and it's him that controls everything.
Right.
And then, because Venom then gets reconnected to the hive mind, Venom's been around for fucking years and has gone through all of this. He's very much on the good guy. He even works for the Avengers from time to time, all this sort of stuff. Eddie Brock's been Venom for fucking years. Flash Thompson's been Venom, has died. The symbiote has gone back to Eddie. And that's then when the wings kick in as well, because the symbiote's gone back to the hive mind and then gone, oh, there are these things we can do that I didn't know we could do because I've never been into this. Lo and behold, Noel's a Marvel villain. He gets fucked up. He gets fucked up by Venom. Venom becomes the god of the symbiotes, essentially. But you can't really do that because you've kind of taken elements of it and done it here. Don't get me wrong. Removing all of my prior knowledge and my thoughts on where I would like Venom to go, what we got was cool as fuck. So it's not to say that it's not. And it makes more sense than Kraven having an army. That pisses me off. But at the same time, I'm like, it's a game. You kind of have to have...
You need goons.
You need goons, despite the fact that it is literally the complete opposite of Kraven as a character. Of having... In some versions, he has a TV crew. Because he has a TV show of him doing these major hunts, which I may just point out would never fucking exist.
No, do not exist.
Just a dude going around killing people. No, not killing people, but killing animals. Spider-Man's the first one where he goes, I'm going after a person. I found it really weird that he was never intentionally there for Spider-Man.
Well, it was he didn't think Spider-Man was a threat.
But
so I think
everyone who's been bested by Spider-Man is.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It makes no fucking sense.
Or he saw Spider-Man as too much of a threat.
No, don't they say he's not a threat?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, like, but yeah, everyone who's fucking been beaten by Spider-Man is a threat. Sure. I like he gets the black suit and Kraven goes, oh. I like that part.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like that would have paid off better if he didn't really even know who Spider-Man was in the first place, not that he was just ignoring him. Or if he was only talking about Miles specifically, who he doesn't find as much of a threat yet. Another thing I thought was weird, and I feel like they did it because of Spider-Verse, the movies, is they just made his lightning blue.
Yeah, because it was orange in the first game.
Yeah. And it was at the beginning of this as well. But he just started getting blue powers because of Mr. Negative. I was like...
But yeah, it was his powers went into him.
Yeah, they're becoming negative.
Yeah.
It's the negative version. But, like...
I guess it's just they need to keep evolving. Like they evolved Peter's powers in this for giving him the symbiote stuff. They needed to do something with...
You could have done that without making them blue.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I just... Again, it's an observation more than a critique. I just found it weird. But his electricity is blue in the Spider-Verse movies. So I'm wondering if they just wanted to keep it consistent.
Maybe
it was it might have even been a note from Marvel to keep it consistent across the character. Seems odd.
It could also just be though that like people are very visual. So, and because really a lot of the actual moves you do don't change. Like the actual ability doesn't really develop much once you...
All the blue moves are new, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, there's not like too much to it. So then by making them blue, it just adds a bit more of a visual, like, oh, this is a different move set.
For sure. As I say, observation more than a critique. There's not really. There's nothing wrong with the blue. Still looks cool as fuck.
Now, the game. One thing that I do critique about it. This never happens.
No.
Like, I would have liked to have had a cool final team up fight to take down Venom, as is implied here in the statue, because that isn't what happens.
No, it's not, is it? It's
You
just
don't-
Pete.
Yeah, and you don't really get. You get like the first opening fight is the two of them fighting together, and it switches between them, but you don't really get that again.
No.
And I do think the one thing it missed is it could have done with like a final big team up between them. So it didn't really do it. It did like a couple of missions where it moved you between them, but they were all doing different things. They weren't together. And that opening sequence was them together, and you switch between them within the fight. So I just kind of assumed we were going to get a big one later. And I think that was a weird thing to miss.
No, I agree. Especially considering it was just like you get to the point of no return and then puts you straight into MJ.
Yeah.
I literally went.
Yeah, it's like, again?
And again, I don't mind the MJ stuff, but the finale?
Yeah.
Fuck right off with the finale, you bastard. But yeah, no, I never really thought about it, but yeah, no, you're right.
I'm not, like, again, not a critique, just weird. And I'm surprised that it wasn't. And it would have been nice to have had it. It would have been nice to have had that final big moment. I mean, like, obviously, people are drawing a lot of comparisons to GTA 5 because of the character switching. And I think... Well, and I mean, that's fair enough, because the GTA 5 is built around you can switch between different characters, and you can also bump into the different characters throughout the city in GTA 5 in the same way you can in this. But like the final act of GTA 5 is it brings you all together and you're all working together, and you're switching between them within the final sequences, and it feels really slick and it feels big and cinematic because it has you using the different elements of all of them to complete the final mission, and it felt like it was missing that.
For sure. No, I just hadn't really, I don't disagree, I just hadn't really acknowledged it because like it seemed to, and that's only because it kind of just made sense in the story at the time. Not to say that they shouldn't have rewritten it to make sense that they were both there at the same time, considering he does show up.
Yeah. I also would have liked...
This is the wrong suit for this moment in story.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, that would be that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%.
Spoiler City.
I'd argue this whole thing is spoiler
Well,
city anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
I know we knew Venom was in the game, but we shouldn't have.
Yeah. Little things I just think would have been nice to add. Not so much criticisms, just would have been nice to have. I thought it was cool when you were like doing the random crimes and stuff. You might go to one and Miles was there already and stuff like that. That was kind of cool, and you got some cool team up combo animations and stuff in that. I also enjoy that you can also bump into Wraith or Harry.
Yeah.
So
in a very specific
point, but when he's kind of being all helpy,
Agent Venom.
yeah, you can bump into Harry in those moments. But there didn't seem to be, or it seems that you can't just bump into them in free roam. It will only be in the fight.
crimes.
Because I did see someone was like trying to see if it would work and was slowly moving them all both to the same part of the map and like switching between them. So, and it took him a while, but it'd be like he spawns in and they're on the same building, but each other isn't there. But when he switches back and forth, they're on that building.
Oh, okay.
So, like, he managed to slowly move them, so they were both at the Empire State Building, and then he switched to. Got the Empire State Building with Pete, switched to Miles, who was like right next to it, and then climbed him up, and then switched it to Pete, and Miles wasn't there. But Pete was at the top of the Empire State Building, and then switched back to Miles, and Pete wasn't there, but Miles was at the top of the Empire State Building. So it was like, it's remembering like where you left them.
Which is weird, considering when you change, it immediately puts you into an animation of you leaving.
Yeah.
So it's weird that he even remembers that you were there in the first place.
So there's a weird thing there, but like...
I get it.
Yeah, like, it's a fucking
Why have you
technical
wasted
achievement anyway.
Why have you wasted your life doing that? But
TikTok views.
Well, yes.
More successful than us.
For sure.
I watched him. He's not watching us right now.
My baby's got 2 views.
Well, if that was you, sir, I enjoyed your TikTok.
I think you should touch grass.
Or
I'm
my
kidding.
ass.
I'm kidding.
But it would have been cool to like be swinging, and I think you could have easily like made this a scripted thing, so you're not having to rely on randomly but you like randomly have to be in
They
the right
just,
place.
they just show up the
Yeah.
same way they show up on crime.
Yeah,
in crimes.
you can be swinging and one will just swing past you. But, hey, Pete, or something, and that would have been really fucking sick. Just a cool little thing to have that happening.
I've made a decision in this moment.
What?
I hate Wraith. I hate Wraith.
I agree
hate
with that. Yeah,
I hate Wraith. What just...
I don't think her performance was good.
No. It was just someone who was hired to be a charismatic...
Has now got to do a different role.
Yeah, has got to do a different role, and she shitted it.
Yeah.
And, like, if this is what she was auditioning for, she wouldn't have got it.
Yeah,
Probably.
I think you're 100% right.
Like, and... It's just fucking weird. And also just... Such a rapid change
Yeah.
in character. I know it happens all through the DLC and everything. It's not just a end of Spider-Man 1, but it's just like you've really hard shifted and you're just a detective and you've got this fucking these skills with a scythe on a chain and your moves are to just throw and hit people with the butt of it for one, waste of time, and then you have the ability to jump like fucking Spider-Man because you've got a chain. No, I hate it. And also, I've always hated these. Just like, don't get me wrong. In real life, the fact that Spider-Man doesn't kill would be his biggest problem.
Oh yeah, but
In real life,
I would also argue what he does kills.
oh yes, 100% in the game. Yeah, absolutely. That one where he throws them up into the air and then kicks them in the back
Yeah.
when they're upside down.
Spine shattered.
Shattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And when they do the fall thing, and like they fall off the roof and then it just webs them to
Oh,
the
yeah,
building.
yeah.
The force in which they hit the building, dead.
Jam.
Yeah, just fucking complete fucking...
Just while you mentioned just while you're on Wraith, before I forget, the other thing they did with Wraith, the Wraith side missions has a bit where it gets you to do double stealth takedowns.
Yes.
Never again.
Never again.
And
Never
that-
with Miles.
Yeah, and that was another weird there's no point. I do think there's a weird oversight in that there is like no times where it has you teaming up with your co-Spider-Man. I think that's really bizarre.
It is
They could have done some really cool stealth sequences with you and Miles together, and you're doing these cool stealth double things. Because you can take out two people at once yourself. So you can do if you're on. You can only do it if you've done a zip thing and you're walking across your web like a tightrope.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got two enemies beneath you, you can do two at once as perch takedowns. But that's the only time you can do it if you're on those webs.
I never noticed that. I never did that.
Yeah, that was like my favourite thing to do. Also, that fucking web thing where you can just essentially build a web.
Oh, game changer.
Like, really good fun, but also makes no sense. The amount of places I did this in, and I did it so much, I was like, you're telling me none of these guys can see this massive fucking spider web that is hovering above their heads now. Like, there was one where it's like, the room is so big, and you as a guard are on the other side of the room. Looking down the room, there's no way you cannot see it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of just...
But it's a game,
The
like...
stealth mechanics are so basic.
They are fun, though.
Oh yeah, I love it. But I mean, like they've just got this. They haven't got a cone of vision. They've just got a fucking rectangular vision that doesn't see forward, and all this kind of stuff. It is nonsense. Yes, 100%. Especially some of the like. The volume of the kick. I realise it's just a sound effect, but the volume of those when you do the stealth triangle thing, it just goes boom. Like your foot has an 808 in it. Did you ever watch Vsauce 3?
No.
He like...
I know of him, but...
Yeah, so basically he did... This is like long time ago. He did like the science of superheroes and stuff, and he did a video just using the actual science of working out what is the most dangerous thing about Captain America. And he determined it was his kick.
Yeah, I totally buy that.
Yeah,
Buy
it
that
wasn't his
100%.
shield throwing the shield at him and what have you, and it's just like, yeah, that could like get you at the right angle and stuff that could probably take your head off. But like, if that hit you in the sternum versus him kicking you in the sternum, you'd take the shield because the fucking speed in which people have been flying back from his kicks. It's just like, yo, you're dead. You're gone. Dead and buried. But anyway, that was just because I said the volume of a kick. Then it just reminded me of that chaos on this side of the table. But
switch sides, though.
It follows me wherever I go. Agent Venom is dope.
Yep. Agreed.
Agent Venom is dope. Again, that's a weird thing that doesn't really make sense. Obviously, it can in this version of the Marvel universe, and it's fine, and it's still cool as fuck. I don't really get it because he starts doing it before it starts starting to look like Spider-Man before any interaction has happened.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man. I like how he gets the emblem. Mm-hmm. Because that is literally he's just the symbol latched on to him, and then it copied it. That's fine. But Agent Venom is Flash Thompson. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before. Yeah, he's Flash Thompson. Blah blah. Going down a different path. Fine. They've never really set up Flash in this universe anyway, so
they'd mention him in this.
They do mention him, but they've not set it up in a way where if you wanted to do Agent Venom properly, you would be able to do it quickly and like soon. You'd be starting again from fucking scratch, essentially, because you would need to go through all the Flash's arcs, 900 different things that Venom would need to go through. So we're in his own world. It's cool. When Agent Venom showed up, I lost my mind. I thought it was fucking sick.
Yeah, it's cool
because we never see Agent Venom in anything. Because to do it in most Marvel universes, it takes 907 steps, as I just said. His wings are cool as fuck.
Yep.
I enjoyed the fact that it wasn't Spider-Man.
Last time we did this, it all went Pete Tong.
Just press any button that isn't the bottom one.
Cool.
Haha. I like the fact that it wasn't either of the Spider-Men that beat Kraven.
Venom it's Venom. Yeah, fuck brutal as well.
Yeah, oh yeah. Fucked him up.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Speaking of, there is a lot of shit that they set up separately.
So a lot of it means nothing to me because, like, the one that you like, the post-credit scene one.
Yeah.
I googled like, who the fuck is this person? Googled it. I was like, I still don't know who that is.
It's, to be fair, that's a lot. That's Silk. They're going to have to do a lot of weird shit anyway because she's clearly not imprisoned. She's clearly not the same age as Peter.
It means nothing to me. I don't know who she is. I don't know who this character is.
She's a spider person.
I see. Okay.
She was Silk webs.
Oh, okay. Yep.
She was actually bitten by the same spider as Peter at around about the same time.
Oh.
And then her powers came through. She has organic webs. Yeah. She has organic webs, and when her powers came through, she accidentally like webbed up her parents essentially. And some scientist came along and took her to train her so that she could use her powers. And then I think it was to do with like the King in Black hive mind shit. What was it? Something like that. Allow me to find. But essentially, when something started happening, no, had nothing to do with hive mind stuff. In the whole world of Spider-Verse, there is this family of vampires that specifically want to feed on spider people.
Right.
So they travel the multiverse just feeding on spider people. When Scientist Man learned of this, he just locked her in a bunker.
Right.
And then Spider-Man found out and freed her.
I see.
But she's meant to be about the same age as Pete. And clearly she's not in a bunker. And clearly she was a lot younger.
Yeah.
It looked like she was younger than Miles.
Did look like she was younger than Miles, yeah.
We didn't see her. We just saw like a glimpse of the back of her head briefly for a second. It looked like she was younger than Miles, though, which is fine. Again, they're adapting this universe. So
which is fine, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's another spider person. They're going down the route, which leads me more into the thing. I think they're trying to get rid of Peter. Not trying to get rid of. Well, they're writing Peter out.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So at the end of this, like, Peter kind of hangs up his suit. But I think I still think he'll be one of the main protagonists of the third Spider-Man.
I think it'd be the other, like, flipped.
Yeah, yeah,
So Miles is the lead, but Peter is still there as the second playable
yeah. I think you're right.
Spider-Man, which, again, still not what I want. But
No, but yeah,
There we
I'll
are.
take it.
oh yeah,
I do
That's
think it would have been nice, considering that the game ends and he hangs up his suit. He's like, and he doesn't say like, "I'm not going to be Spider-Man ever." He's like,
No, he
"I'm
said,
just
"I'm
going to be
doing
Pete
this
for
less."
a bit." Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
be Pete for a bit. It would have been like,
I think they want to do this. They've given themselves an out, is what I think they've done there. As in, they want to retire him.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
make
of
him
course.
but
That's
they've just
fine.
written themselves an out. But yeah, no,
that's
that
fine.
is fine.
No, but I think because considering like you see that it ends with him being like, "I'm just going to be Pete for a while. I got some shit to deal with. You go deal with the city," kind of thing. And Miles was like, "I can deal with all of this. Don't worry about it. I've got this."
He didn't even have to say anything, did he? He
Yeah.
just went, "I got this."
Yeah, I got this. I can deal with all of that. Don't worry about it. You do what you need to do. But then immediately you could just switch back to Pete as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Literally, all it could have done with is just a little throwaway comment when you switch, of him being like, "I got a little bit of time. I'll give this a quick run," or something like that. Just a little something as to why he's
Yeah,
now
'cause
just carried on Spider-Maning anyway.
Yeah, it does break it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
But it's so easily just like throwaway line. That's all it needs.
yeah.
Or even a simple thing is, but if you bump into Miles, or if you're Miles and you bump into Pete during a thing after that point, just thought you were taking a break, like just something as simple as that, and just like
Yeah.
all it needed.
Yeah, I agree. From what the thing is though, from what they're setting up to be the big bad of 3, it needs to be Peter.
Yeah, because they're clearly setting up Goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it needs to be like that part needs to be entirely focused around Peter.
So probably what they'll do is the game will start, or it'll be pitched as if you're Miles, and then that will be the curveball. You
start
actually end
playing.
up being Pete, and that'll be the shock
Yeah.
twist.
It's just what I was talking about earlier in No Way Home. It's just I need something to still be Pete.
Yeah, I'm with you entirely.
Yeah.
I also think that Spider-Man 3, it's definitely happening.
That's like 5 years away.
But it's miles away.
Oh, yeah. Mars.
Hey.
Yeah. It's fucking years away. So it's Beyond the Spider-Verse. I don't know why they advertised it as coming out in March.
Poor marketing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sony movies.
Yeah. Yeah, this was because during the press tour for Across the Spider-Verse, which came out in what, June?
Yeah, I think so.
June? When people asked, have you started VO? One of the first things you do in an animated movie. They all just went, no. I haven't read a script. I was like, this movie's coming out in 9 months. I was like, fucking 8. And then the strikes happened. This movie is not coming out in March. It might come out in March 2025. Maybe in 2036.
Yes. Well, they've confirmed now, and somebody confirmed that Wolverine is part of the same universe, which is cool. It doesn't mean
cool.
anything.
It means nothing.
Yeah. But it means that there's a chance or something.
Yeah, I kind of don't want it. I want Wolverine.
You don't want there to be the...
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they're kind of setting up and teasing the fact that Wolverine's going to be a really violent game.
Yes. But all it needs, though, I think, to tick the boxes for me, is just to continue to reference that they're in each other's universe. Like, not every...
That's fine.
This is what I've said about the MCU. Like, sometimes, like, I just need a...
They just say something.
Yeah.
That's fine. And that I don't mind. But we kind of already have that in a weird way with, like, the Insomniac Spider-Man games are clearly in a pre-established Marvel universe.
Yeah, because the Avengers,
the
Doctor
Avengers
Strange,
Tower,
yeah.
they got the Sanctum Sanctorum, Nelson
The
Murdoch.
fucking Doctor
They're
Strange.
building the Baxter building in Spider-Man 2.
The fucking Doctor Strange thing was so cool, by the way.
It is cool. A complete waste that it was just Black Cat, but it is cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I really, really think that Wolverine's going to be pretty fucking special, and I think there's going to be some bullshit with it as well. I have no doubt it's going to be full of weird mini games, but I think Wolverine's going to be pretty fucking special. I really, really do. I'm really confident like at this point now, like I am. If you would ask me what is Sony's top first party studio, don't even have to hesitate. It's Insomniac, because their track record at this point, at this stage, in like recent years, they've had the more consistent, better content.
Well, they've had content.
Because they've had content.
Yeah, I would say on a quality level, it's probably still Naughty Dog for me, but overall it's Insomniac because the quality is incredibly close, and they do it.
Yeah, and there's
they're
loads of it.
Yeah, and this is their third go
Yeah.
on PS5, and Naughty Dog hasn't had one.
Yeah.
So it's just like they're the last ones.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
So,
But,
it like, and I kind of like, I think they've nailed this franchise, like Spider-Man. Like, there's issues with the game design, but that's the game design is the issue, not the Spider-Man part of this issue. Like, the Spider-Man stuff nailed.
Yep.
So, like, the potential of if they put the same devotion and care into Wolverine, the potential there is exciting to me.
I'm also intrigued because there are no elements from their past work that I could imagine working with Wolverine, whereas Spider-Man, I can see the heritage.
Yeah, especially with like the
Sunset Overdrive.
traversal and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I can see Sunset Overdrive, and I can see some weirdness from Ratchet and Clank pouring in. But
Yeah, but Wolverine as well doesn't feel like a game that's going to suit an open world thing.
I don't think it will be.
I don't think it should be. It's not going to suit it. So
No.
it is intriguing to see where they might go.
Supposedly, people are kind of, obviously this is just deriving from off remarks that people have said, it's going to be more like Ragnarok.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, linear with open areas.
Yeah, that's what it needs. That's fine.
Yeah.
It
I
needs
agree.
to be. It needs to have this this game's kind of fidelity
Mm-hmm.
and brutal and gory, and it also needs to be not just in terms of like the combat is brutal and gory. The story needs to be like brutal. It needs to be like uncomfortable in a way and like
Yeah.
a bit more dark and gritty.
Yeah. I really want the suit.
The suit will be an unlockable thing. It won't. I don't think that will be.
I know,
core suit.
and that's kind of disappointing for me because
That's
that's
fair.
one of my things that I've always hated that's come from the movies.
That's
is that
fair.
they don't put
That's
Wolverine in the
where
suit.
you and I differ there, though, is again what we were saying about some of the Spider-Man stuff of just like our heritage with the franchises
Mhm.
is like I don't have that comic book thing. For me, I've spoken on this channel many times. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine
Yeah,
for me. So the fact that this Wolverine won't be this Wolverine won't be Hugh Jackman,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm fine with that. But it will be weird for me to get past that. So that kind of style is still what I feel is as Wolverine.
For sure.
But at the same time, though,
I hope it's a pre-order bonus so I can do it from minute one.
I do also agree that the actual yellow suit would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
I agree, it would be fucking cool. So would, and it's, I know what they're going to do. It's going to have all the fucking movie suits as well. I can guarantee it. I guarantee it. It will have all the X-Men ones. It will have the Origins one, because that's just what they do.
Origins one? He wears a
Yeah.
white...
It'll be the white vest top, all ripped up.
He does that. To be fair, he wears that in every
True.
movie. That's when he's not actually yeah.
What I particularly want from Wolverine is first of all the ability to retract my claws and whatnot as I please.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that, but I'd like there to be a button which just allows me to do. I just want that as a button prompt.
Berserk mode. Oh, a button prop.
Yeah.
Not even a...
Not even a berserk mode. Just I would like to at just any point be able to just go at any point.
I think he might be let down on that front.
Probably, but
the retracting I can see.
fucking cool though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
Especially if you no, see, they could build like a intimidation tactic into
I'm
the
really
game.
excited about the photo mode.
Of course you are.
Just thinking of all the poses you could do.
I'd like to put like an
Two of the claws in,
intimidation tactic into the game as well. So
like the
as you
fear
go, "Rah,"
the fear takedowns and stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the Arkham games.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
And obviously, I think one of the things that's gonna be most exciting is what they could do with the healing.
Yep.
Because this game, like Spider-Man, like his suit takes damage,
Mm-hmm.
and then just miraculously,
Over time.
yeah. And I think that exists for no other reason. So they're testing a healing mechanic. From a
You
visual
can't
point
have
of view.
Wolverine without a healing mechanic.
Exactly,
The
yeah.
weird thing is, like, it makes it difficult for a video game because Wolverine's one of his biggest things is he heals.
Yeah. Yeah, but obviously most games have heal when you're out of combat now. That's how most health systems work.
That's how a lot of them work.
Yeah, I know this one doesn't, but that'll be just what it is. You heal when you're out of combat.
A lot of out of combat stuff, your health will just go back up.
Oh yeah, and then you can put your health up as well if you want
Yeah,
to. So I reckon they'd have to place it down to that you can't be killed, you can be knocked out.
For
Or
sure.
something.
Yeah. Because well, he literally can't die. Well, he can, but
No, but that's what your game over is. You're knocked out as opposed to
Yeah.
you're dead. But like in terms of like they could do some really gory, like brutal stuff with like the body and with the level of fidelity and something they're capable of, that could look really fucking sick. Especially if they do it right. You heal and your clothes don't.
Yep.
That would be cool.
Be a technical fucking marvel.
But I think if anyone can do it, it's Insomniac.
For sure. I would have said more Naughty Dog, but yeah. But
Insomniac now, I trust them.
Like
Naughty
some
Dog
of the
are
shit
never
going to release a game again. So
No. I think Naughty Dog are fucked. I think they're done, personally. I am remarkably alarmed about Naughty Dog.
Oh, I'm not.
We don't know at all what they're doing.
We don't know at all what anyone's doing.
Yeah, and it's alarming.
Yeah, but that's not like...
No, but we know what Insomniac are doing. Wolverine.
Okay. What's anyone else doing?
What's his Fair Games?
Oh, not those wank fucking nonsense.
What's Bungie's one called? Can't remember. Monument. What's it called? What's Bungie's one called?
Marathon.
That's it, Marathon.
No, they don't count either. They're not PlayStation Studios.
Yeah, but there's some answers.
But yeah, what's? Oh, well, I know what Guerrilla's doing because they're doing 900,
all of the Horizons.
907
But it's normal. It's actually, if you look at the track record or the history of Sony, it's normal to not know what some of these studios are doing. We've always known what Naughty Dog are doing.
Well, we knew what they were doing, but Bungie opened their mouth.
But even then, they didn't officially reveal it, and that's still unusual. I know it would have been this year, but that's unusual. If you look at the pattern, of recent years, so
games also taken unprecedented longer to develop now than ever. I'm not concerned about it at all.
It's more just
it's odd.
It's odd and it's
and
weird.
Unusual, but I'm not worried about it.
We'll see.
Ghost of Tsushima 2 is in development.
That's inevitably happening.
Yeah. They're not letting Sucker Punch do anything.
We got to fucking hear something in the next couple of weeks, surely.
You would think so, which means we absolutely won't.
They've got to now, surely.
Yeah.
Surely you've got to hear something. I can't see them going into... I know when it'll be. Hang on.
While you're looking, shall I initiate? Actually, no, because then we're going to have to hop back. So we'll wait until you're done, because I still have more Spider-Man things to say.
Let me just check. My theory makes sense.
It's going to be early December, probably, because that's when PSX was.
Right, fair. That's a good pitch. I was thinking it will be when the PS5 Slim launches.
Which we don't have a date for.
November, that's all we know. They haven't said a specific day, just November.
Maybe.
Just says starting in November, it will roll out. But that would be...
But I don't think they're doing a launch for that, are they? It's just
no,
replacing...
but because they'll roll them out, though, so once they hit them, they'll...
Boost them up to sell
it's
them.
it's a selling point.
Yeah.
Make a big hype. At the same time they do that, announce all their fucking shit, that's the selling.
We need to know what's going on eventually, because now other than a couple of these, we know Wolverine, which is probably 2 years away, in my opinion, could be next year, but I think it's 2 years away.
I think it's intended for next year, but will become 2 years away.
It's the same thing. I don't. I don't acknowledge fake. Forced to just make up some bullshit date because our stockholders are getting itchy.
They've said a date anyway.
No, they haven't. No, but they will. They'll be like, "Oh, it's coming in October," and then in September they'll be like,
"All I mean is, I imagine that I think their predictions of when they want it out is next year. That's all."
Quite possibly, because I imagine I also imagine we're getting Spider-Man 2 DLC quite soon.
Well, yeah, I think there'll be Spider-Man 2 DLC. I think they've already said that they're working on another, that Insomniac are doing something else as well, which I'm assuming is Ratchet.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that Wolverine would have already been in a bit more production than what Ratchet might be, and Ratchet would have his own team as well. Because obviously, but they've just come off of Ratchet.
They've got 3 teams, don't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so there'll be the Spider-Man.
Yeah. So the Spider-Man team that are probably now moving on to DLC. Or the other. Oh, yeah, but then the Wolverine team, which I imagine was smaller until about months ago. Yeah. So they're going. I imagine the DLC was started quite a while ago anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Ratchet team, which I wouldn't be surprised if they'll put Ratchet out. Do you think Ratchet would come out first? Or
no,
Wolverine?
I don't think Ratchet would come out first because we've had a Ratchet PS5 game already. So I think
Yeah, but it also, in theory, depending on what they're going for with Wolverine,
true.
obviously, it wouldn't take as long
Yeah,
to
like
develop because reused
and
assets
yeah,
and
also putting a Ratchet out mid-gen and then Wolverine out towards the end of the gen to close off the generation is probably a bigger.
yeah. But fucking knowing Insomniac at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Man 3 is what closes out the generation.
Yeah, well, yeah, and also like the video games industry, especially PlayStation, is so hard to predict because of like everything that I used to be able to accurately predict about how PlayStation would
everyone's
behave.
lost their mind.
Like, I was able to accurately predict a lot of things, like up until around 2019, about how PlayStation would behave, like because of there was a pattern and things made sense, and they were doing certain things, and they were sticking to certain routines. That's now all gone out the window. And even if we'd gotten to the point where we were starting to understand it, it's going to change again now that Jim Ryan's going.
Yep.
Because obviously that's all Jim Ryan's decisions. So the fact that someone else is now going to be in charge.
Well, I mean, most of that was Sean Layden. Oh, no.
No, Sean Layden wasn't Jim Ryan's role.
No, it wasn't. Never mind. Retract.
Yeah.
Retract statement. You're right.
Herman Hulse has taken that.
Yeah. You're right.
No, all of this weird shit has happened. The weird way they market has happened since Jim Ryan was in. That's his method of marketing.
For sure. We haven't really seen the fruits of a lot of Jim Ryan's labour. We won't. We'll start seeing that over the course of the year.
Not critiquing Jim
Ryan.
Ryan.
No, I know.
Just that, like...
But I'm just saying because people don't quite understand how this stuff works.
No, yeah.
Just because like a lot of the games we're getting now weren't greenlit by Jim Ryan. We haven't got those yet. Some of them were, and some of the ones we have, all these acquisitions and the PC approach, that's all Jim Ryan.
But in terms of how Sony talk...
Yeah, that's the not doing so.
Yeah, that
is
current
Jim
thing
Ryan.
is Jim Ryan,
which is really fucking weird because his background is marketing.
Well, he's just made a marketing decision that I think was wrong. But then at the same time, it's also worked for him. So what do we know? But I think
Has it worked for them, or have they just built up so much good faith beforehand?
Well, yeah, that's true.
That it's going to take more than just being a bit quiet to.
It hasn't necessarily hurt them.
It hasn't hurt them 100%. No.
But whoever takes control next is obviously going to approach it differently.
Mm-hmm.
So my point being nothing more than, even if I'd started to work out how Jim Ryan does this shit and what Sony's likely to do, it's going to fucking change again anyway. So trying to predict what Sony are doing is just impossible because it's fucking, they're all over the shop.
Yeah, agreed. I think they're probably going to go start towards a little bit more traditional. I reckon they're...
Well, at this point they need to talk because now we don't know anything.
No, we know about Wolverine.
And all we know about Wolverine is there is a game called Wolverine.
It exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marvel games in general. You know, I will carry on. I've got a couple of things to say about Spider-Man.
I'm a little excited about time, but we'll go for a bit.
God damn, you getting old. We used to do this until God knows when. We didn't.
We didn't. We'd always try and get to 11 o'clock and then go, oh shit, it's getting late because we still got to do it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Marvel games. Can you have some originality, please? Like, just Marvel games as an entity. This entity that's happened. They're focused on fucking mobile games. All that wank with Marvel Snap and all that bollocks. And then they're just going down these really fucking weird routes. Or, like, can we pick a more interesting character to follow? You've done Avengers, which involves Captain America, Black Panther, and Iron Man. And then gone, let's make a Captain America and Black Panther game. And then a Black Panther game. And then an Iron Man game.
Yeah.
And, like... Even in the games that are probably going to be good, well, and are good with Spider-Man, it's like Spider-Man games. There are so many fucking Spider-Man games. Not that I'm complaining about the Spider-Man games we've got. They're excellent. And these games could be excellent as well. Wolverine, X-Men is second in most used IP. And, like, you've got so many avenues now that the MCU is this big. And some of the weirder characters are this big. The other game they did was Guardians of the Galaxy, and Guardians was fucking everywhere. It was one of those they've gone, oh, we can sell Groot. Let's just overuse Guardians, and then did a Guardians game. I was like, for fuck's sake. And again, that game wasn't bad.
It was good. I liked Guardians.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't Spider-Man, but it was good. But it came at a point where I was kind of over Guardians. So it was just, you've got Doctor Strange, you've got Moon Knight, you've got Ghost Rider, you've got Blade, you've got all of these fucking characters.
Shang-Chi.
You got Shang-Chi. You can make a fucking like hand-to-hand combat game with Shang-Chi. You can make some weird and fucking wonderful games. Not that I ever want them to sideline themselves to do somebody else's IP, but could you imagine if Naughty Dog did Punisher?
Yeah, we've said this before.
Yeah. I mean, Neil Druckmann said this before.
Yeah.
That's what, like, initially introduced. But could you imagine that guy? Anyone doing the Punisher and doing, like, a really fucking dark story and a violent shooter, but, like, guttural. Like Last of Us violent, not Doom violent. But no. Captain America and Black Panther and Black Panther. One from a woman who can't release a game. And the other one from EA. Anyway.
I did, side note, just remind me, I just see, you know how I've been really excited about Doctor Who? I had a concern last week. One of the writers on the new season is the woman that did Loki season 1.
So it's going to be shit.
Yeah, now I'm concerned. Also,
but everyone in the world is going to tell you it's great.
do you know the other thing they've done that I don't like?
No.
So, Ncuti Gatwa's season 1 hasn't aired yet.
Correct.
They've already started filming season 2.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Things do that.
I don't know that. You're rebooting the franchise. Air your first season and make sure people like your reboot before you start filming your second season. Don't like this. Really bad. It's a really dumb move. Just fucking wait.
Happens all the time, though.
I
It's not
don't
just
like
a
it.
Doctor
It's
Who
the first
thing.
time Doctor Who have ever done it, apparently. He's the first. Apparently, Ncuti Gatwa is the first Doctor to film his second season before his first one's even aired.
Oh, fair enough.
Apparently.
Fair
But I just think that's a dumb move, especially when it's a series, when it's a reboot. Like, you're rebooting the franchise here.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, essentially, they're rebooting the franchise. It's new showrunners. They've basically gone, Jodie Whittaker's era wasn't very good. Reboot, start again. That's basically what they're doing.
But isn't that every time they get a new
Yeah,
Doctor?
but like this is like a more of a bigger, because they don't normally change showrunners.
Oh, so not an in-universe reboot?
No.
So it's not a okay,
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Fine. I was just getting very confused.
Yes, I don't know what the right word would be. A revamp? I don't know.
Yeah, more of it. It's just...
A regeneration.
Yeah,
But it's like your last few
there isn't really a name for changing things on the back end, because
Yeah.
things change on the back
But
end
like your
all
last,
the time.
your last version was poorly received, really badly rated. You've now gone back to different
It's a
show.
soft reboot.
Yeah, it's a soft reboot. So you got new cast, new showrunner. Well, original showrunner. You've got basically gone to the
I imagine
team.
the original showrunner is quite dead.
Yeah, well, the original showrunner for the modern era that did really well. And going back to that original team, the creative team that made it popular in this new run. Just like have faith in them, sure, but maybe just double check. And do a
I've always found it weird because
it's bizarre to me.
Because like when Invincible aired, like around about the same time as it aired, they greenlit season 2 and 3. And I think pretty sure the boys did it with 3, 4, and 5.
They've done it with Gen V as well.
Yeah.
Like they've greenlit season 2 and it's still airing. Although I'm enjoying Gen V.
I don't care for it.
I'm enjoying it.
I don't like the main character, and that's somewhat
I
of
don't
a
like the
problem.
main character either, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's just I really don't like when they just beat things into the fucking ground. And even I saw an interview with the creator of The Boys, like created for TV of The Boys.
Eric Kripke.
Yeah. Who just went basically in an interview when talking about Gen V, just went. He's just like, because he comes up with plans for his show and how the show's going to go, and then Amazon just go, but we've done this, you can't do that now.
Right.
And it's just gone, well, I've already fucking planned this from minute 1, you bastard. And he's just like, because he did the exact same thing with he created Supernatural.
But isn't he the producer on?
Yeah, no,
Gen
but
V?
he's still going to get over. Well, he's the producer in the way that Stan
Oh, right,
Lee
I
was.
see. Yeah, all right.
I
fair.
imagine. I don't know that for sure.
I mean, his name's plastered on the fucking title credits, so it's just assumed it was.
Yeah, but as I say, Stan Lee's a producer
Yeah,
of
no,
all
but
the
it's
Marvel
fair enough.
movies.
Fair point.
But he might be more involved. But I think it was more he was saying, like, because he might have helped develop, like, maybe it was the... But he was like, I planned this for 5 seasons. Planned 5 seasons of The Boys. Done. Like, but now they've started adding things like using characters from the boys in Gen V, which changes the way they of the later seasons, and it's just like, well,
I wish studios would stop fiddling.
yeah, I know, and yeah, he did the same thing with Supernatural. He got to where he wanted to end Supernatural, and they carried it on for 10 years after that. 10 years after. Where he ended it, by the way, fine. We're in this weird world. They introduced demons and angels.
Not seen it.
No, I know. But it's just every supernatural myth is real,
Right?
Essentially, werewolves and wendigos and genies and all this sort of shit. It's all real, and it started getting
Santa.
Yeah. No, well, not Santa, but the
Evil Santa.
Yeah, what do they call it? The kraut, like.
Yeah, I know the thing you mean.
Yeah, that exists. Loki, all these different mythical things and what have you. They started getting really weird where they introduced demons, and then they got to like a big angel thing, and that was meant to be like towards where it started to end, but it got fucking mad. God shows up. But anyway, a couple more things I want to talk about with Spider-Man, but and then I'll
need to go.
I'll leave. Another thing, things that they teased, the things I wanted to say earlier, but it was kind of a spoiler. The Spider-Verse thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the character in the portal was meant to be in Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
And that was meant to be her debut.
Right.
This is a new character, but they just put her here instead because her scenes got cut out of that. Obviously, they mentioned Miguel, which is Spider-Man 2099. So this is clearly in that. I have a feeling this is a setup that goes nowhere.
Probably just a little
Nod.
Easter egg.
Yeah, which, given how much you had to do for it, and like these collectibles were a big part of the game.
Yep. The biggest collectible as well, wasn't it? In terms of the quantity of them.
Yeah. If it then doesn't go anywhere, that's really annoying. And the reason I was like, kind of annoys me a little bit is because you don't know who Miguel is, but you got his suit. And that's always annoyed me. Any Spider-Man game, and you've been able to have 2099 suit, other than Shattered Dimensions and The Edge of Time, it's really annoyed me because it's not Peter's suit. Stop it. You don't give in the first game. You don't get a Miles suit. So why are we getting other people's suits? Just because that really annoys me. At least all of the others, multiverse or whatever, and doesn't make any sense in the plot. That's fine, but they're all Peter's suits, or they might not be Peter's suits, but they're Peter's body. Superior Spider-Man isn't Peter technically; it's Doc Ock, but it's Peter's body.
It's very confusing. I don't want to get into that.
The other thing, the two more, they obviously set up Carnage. I started going, they've run out of ideas. They've created a red-headed psychopath as a villain who likes fire. That's a bit weird. Why have they done this? They could have just made him Cletus Cassidy, and then Wraith was just like, aliases include Cletus Cassidy. I was like, I see. I was like, fair fucks at that point. And obviously he does the line that anybody who could potentially become Carnage has to say is they really have to forcefully enter the word Carnage into a sentence. And lastly, Chameleon, which is the guy with the fancy house, the fancy penthouse. You go in and you find all of this stuff underground. You find,
yeah.
What was that mission for? What did you have to do to get to that point? Oh, it was to chase the drones, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah.
Chase the drones. I hated those.
Oh, I loved those. They were fun.
They went on too long.
Oh, I was a big fan.
And because I was clearing areas and they sent me to the fucking
That's
stratosphere.
annoying. Give you that, yeah.
Yeah,
I just found them really fun.
Yeah,
I just found the system fun.
It's just a wingsuit wind tunnel, isn't it?
Yeah, I liked it.
There were too many of them.
I think there's too many of you.
Wow. Wow. But yeah, they set up Chameleon. We're obviously going to get Chameleon either in like the DLC or, but I think Spider-Man 3 we're going to get Chameleon and Carnage easy.
Oh yeah.
Easy. It would be cool if we got 2099. We're going to get Silk, obviously, but it would be cool if we could get if they just start introducing all weird ones, even if it's just for like a small side mission thing, introduce side stuff because you can then throw Gwen into the mix and everything as well. It would just be cool. But anyway, other than that, Spider-Man 2 is great.
I agree. Spider-Man 2 was really good. Really enjoyed it. It was a fun platinum as well.
Yep.
Not too long, which for me nowadays is ideal. Because I don't want long
It's a good
games
length.
anymore.
What did you ask me the other day? What your my playtime was? What was yours?
For the platinum, 27 hours.
Nice. That makes sense because I spent a good chunk of hours in photo mode, so that makes sense.
And like, for me, perfect length. Perfect length. I don't want games longer than that anymore. I really, really don't. I just don't have to. I don't have the time to play games properly anymore. I had to really fight to make time to play this. I just don't have that time anymore. Just don't. Busy with other things. Life. It's just. But that's a good length for me. It took me about a week to do it from when it launched, and for me that's fine. That's a good time. And if it wasn't because I was enjoying it enough that I wanted to make the time to play it, probably would have taken me a bit longer. But it was like it was that good that I wanted to actively make the time to play it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to do it in that kind of week's gap.
Yeah, I would quite.
It took me longer than that to do Mirage, and I haven't platinumed it. So not in terms of our account, in terms of like the week.
The time, yeah.
It took me longer to finish the campaign on Mirage. And that's not even because I didn't like Mirage. It was really good. But this was that much better.
This is more your speed.
I want to find the time to play it. Whereas Mirage, I was like, I'll play it.
When I can.
Yeah. Like, I'm not.
You were having a lot of problems with Mirage as well, yeah. So,
but that's not a critique to Mirage. Just it's a compliment to Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure. This is the internet. You can't compliment something without tearing something down. So,
well, it's like Camilla is playing God of War 2018 at the moment, and she went through and she beat the campaign. She took a bit of a break because she went away for a few days, and then that threw her routine out. And it took her a couple of days to sort of go, oh yeah, I was playing God of War, and then got back into it. And she finished the campaign. I chatted with her today, and like she really obviously she enjoyed it. She was really good because it is. I don't think anyone can play God of War and say it's not good. She obviously prefers more open world RPG stuff, and she sort of said like, I think I prefer that kind of game format than this linear thing. Yeah, fine, fair enough. Preference critique, fair enough. But then she's now more engrossed in it now because I realised talking to her, she didn't do any of the exploration stuff whilst playing the game. She just beelined the story, and she was like, oh, I didn't realise you could do all this as well. And now she's like, I'm actually enjoying this more now that I'm just exploring and like ticking things off the box. I'll read this in a second.
what?
The third dinner says, my big problem with Mirage is when it came out, it looked great, but then when I got to it, it turns out I had heat exhaustion. I'm
very confused.
I feel like there might be some. Camilla was saying that she's enjoying God of War 2018 more now that she's found that she can just go and explore and do all these side activities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I was going with this, but there was a point I was going to make. But either way, games are good. Should we go? Coming up on the show next weekend, there will not be a show. We will be doing Admit 1, MCU Reviewed, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, but we will not be doing it until a random weekday next week. Probably, we think, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, because Jack is not here. So if you would like to join us, make sure you head over to the Discord, because that is where we would announce that, because we don't use social media now.
Waste time.
Waste time. Fuck that noise. Anyway, Spider-Man 2 was really, really good. Jack, thank you for joining me. Thank you for anyone in the chat who stuck around and took part this evening. And until next time, we shall see you then.